Welcome to Unique People Stories. What loophole did you exploit for years before someone found out? Parking meters took credit cards, but they weren't actually connected to a live network at all times. The machine just confirmed the card number was valid and was not expired, then spit out a valid pass. So when my card number got stolen and replaced, I kept my old, canceled card. Of course, when the system tried to run the card later, it would be declined. My car and I were long gone by then. Sadly, they wised up and now it charges your card before giving you a pass. There used to be this app called FreeRice or something on Facebook back when it first came out. It was a widget, I think, where you could answer multiple choice questions, and for each one right you would have a grain of rice donated to a family. While that was quite shit because a bowl of rice was a ton of grains. So I one day found out while playing that if I knew an answer 100%, I could spam click the answer repeatedly until I got bored, and when the website finally loaded in my selection, it would count as a ton of right answers. I eventually earned about 500,000 grains of rice for some family if they actually ended up donating it. When I was a kid, there was a pay phone down the street that if you put your quarter in, made a call but no one answered, it would give you back 2 quarters. Went there all the time and called home when I knew no one was there to answer. I went to a sporting goods store and they asked me for my phone number when I was paying. I was in a bad mood and didn't want to fight with the clerk, so I told them our local area code +555 1212, which is the old number for directory assistance. Clerk accepted it and I left. When I checked my receipt, I had a huge number of loyalty points, because apparently a ton of other people did the same thing. I called the office the next day and switched the account to my new address a half dozen times over the next few years. I went and got free stuff with all the points that I kept racking up as one of their most loyal customers. Worked out how to get the jackpot every time on a Connect 4 fruit machine in a pub I used to drink in. It would cost about £5 to £10 before you'd get into the bonus round. Then when you did, you'd play a Connect 4 game against the machine. You place the first counter. And then after the machine places the next counter, you mirror the machine's move. Every game ends in a draw. And you win the jackpot, which was £50. The pub landlord removed the machine after around 3 months as it was regularly empty. Basically paid for my drinking and more for 3 months. My old job, I worked at a pretty large gym, gold level, like the third highest level. Monthly fee was $79 for the gold membership, but employees got a free diamond membership. Worked there for a year and a half before I quit. But my account was never deactivated. Been going there for a while completely free. Still not found out. Diamond membership is like $200 a month. Used to work for the BBC. They have, as you'd expect, their entire archive digitized. I was working on some cloud stuff, so needed access to it to check some access rights. This was literally everything ever shown on the BBC ever downloadable in a ton of video and audio formats. iPlayer is just a fraction of what was in that archive. Took them about 6 years after I left to remove my account. So 6 years free access to probably the largest TV and movie database around. Because I was a good student and rarely got into trouble, I was allowed to have my own phone extension in my room. So, if I was out past curfew, I'd call home. When my mom answered, I'd say, "It's for me. I've got it." And she'd think I was up in my room. She never did catch on. You just reminded me of mine. Back in the olden days, late 90s, cell phone minutes were expensive, and I also had a landline extension in my bedroom for the kids line that we used for dial-up internet. When my mom told me I had to get off the phone and go to bed, I'd schedule down to the minute a time for my boyfriend to call me back. In order to have it not ring, I'd call the weather line and listen to the forecast on repeat and wait for him to beep in on call waiting. We'd talk till sunup some nights, then arrange for him to pick me up from the school bus stop, and I'd ditch out for the first few periods. Ah, young love. Used to work at Starbucks like 7 years ago, and they used to print these receipts where if you filled out a survey, it would give you a 6-digit code which you could then exchange for a free drink. However, when you gave in the receipt with the code, we would just toss it in the garbage and then give the free drink. So over a shift, I would just keep all the survey receipts when people didn't want them, write random numbers on them, then keep a wallet full of free coffee. Since I already got tons of free drinks, I would give them to homeless people and explain it was good for a free coffee. Probably gave away like 100 free drinks. The McDonald's app used to have an entry in the order book for garlic parmesan fries that you only found through the search option. It cost $0. Every time I ordered it, I got free regular fries. Also, you can set the drink option on Happy Meals to coffee, which is not really a loophole but handy. Got keys to a new flat on a Friday afternoon. The place had electric, but it wasn't in my name. Went to the electric company just before closing and the lady said, "Flat 8 you say? We only have record of 7 flats on that building. Tell you what, glances at the clock, come back Monday with the serial number on your meter, and we'll get you all hooked up." I never went back and enjoyed free electric for over 2 years until I moved out. My family used to go to this campground in the summer and rent a little cabin for like a week. In the main building there was a little arcade, mostly older games, and a foosball table, and an air hockey table. What most people didn't know was, the air hockey table was broke. If you put quarters in, you could push the plunger to start the machine and then get your quarters back if you did it just right. A couple of years in a row were super fun because me and one other kid that knew would keep air hockey going for the entire time. The arcade would be filled with kids who would often play other games while waiting their turn at air hockey. They must have found out after a few years though, because one year we went back and it was fixed. The arcade was also a complete ghost town, and the campground made no money off it after that. That's when I fully realized and understood the concept of a loss leader at like 13 years old. On the original Kindle, you could purchase a book with an expired card and Amazon would send you the book. A minute later, you'd receive a notification saying the payment didn't go through. You had to select something stating you were aware of this, and then they would take the book back. If you hit the home button, it took you out of the notification and you could continue reading the book, unaware that the payment didn't go through. I did this once a month my junior year in high school. The summer before senior year, I could not do it anymore. Coincidentally, my passion for reading died around that time. One week the local Chick-fil-A put a coupon in a local coupon magazine flyer which was buy one, get one free, any item on the menu. Next to that coupon they had a 50% off any menu item. I carefully checked, and neither coupon mentioned cannot be combined with any other offer anywhere on it. So I ran out to the local grocery store and grabbed a stack of these flyers. Sure enough, the next week the offer was gone. But it was too late to stop me. I spent almost 2 years as a grad student living almost exclusively off of 128-count nugget platters that I would get for 25% of the cost, first half off, second free. Place went under new management and they put up a sign saying they would no longer be accepting those coupons. Not entirely sure if that was due solely to me or if anyone else was pulling the same thing. I had about 20 coupon pairs left when they shut it down. Back in 1999-2000 there was this web advertising company called All Advantage. You could install their ad banner on your computer and it would occupy like the bottom 15% of your screen and show you ads, and AA would pay you for the time you were exposed to the ads. Of course they had basic measures in place like stopping your accumulated time if your screensaver came on or your computer went to sleep. But all it took was a simple program that would keep your mouse slowly moving while you're actually away IRL, and the AA clock would keep on ticking. Not sure if keeping it running at all times I was away IRL ended up being cost effective in regards to cost of electricity, but I was a teenager living with my parents so I didn't care about that. I think I pulled maybe $500 or so before the company went under. Thank you for listening. Did you ever do something similar? Check out our other videos. Like, share and subscribe if you like the content.